Donald Trump actually said our new military will bring back new focus on fitness. I love the idea that Trump is lecturing these guys on fitness. I mean, if that isn't the fondue pot calling the kettle fat, I don't know what is. Listen up, generals. I want to make something very clear. The Pillsbury Dough president wants you to do Pilates. The only push-ups Donald Trump does are from the side of an ice cream truck. If you get so fat you start breaking escalators, you are unfit to serve in the military.
The beauty of a roast is that it needs no exaggeration when the targets have already turned themselves into living punchlines. Donald Trump and Karoline Leavitt are proof that reality has outpaced satire. They're a double act so ridiculous that Jimmy Kimmel doesn't even need writers. He just has to watch them exist. Trump, the current president, still clings to the fantasy that history will view him as a titan, while Leavitt trails behind him like a hype woman for chaos, parroting his delusions with the confidence of someone who has never questioned a thing.
If you get so fat you start breaking escalators, the woman who keeps insisting Trump didn't draw this or sign this in 2003, she was 5 years old. She was too young even for Jeffrey Epstein in 2003. So she knows. She knows. They're all... I love that these people are so certain he didn't do this. Well, he's never lied before.
The president's obsession with being seen as a genius is the first target. Kimmel dissects a man who thinks strategy means yelling louder than everyone else. Trump treats every press appearance like the finale of a reality show. Dramatic pauses, wild gestures, and promises that make no sense beyond his own head. Kimmel paints a leader who confuses applause with policy and considers retweets a measure of success. The sarcasm cuts deep because it reveals the absurdity of governing as if the White House were just another TV set.
The only push-ups Donald Trump does are from the side of an ice cream truck. If you get so fat you start breaking escalators, you are unfit to serve in the military. But, unfortunately, fantasy is more powerful than reality in this MAGA sphere we live in, which meant it was time for our commander-in-cheeseburger to weigh in on one of the most pressing issues our military faces today, unattractive...
If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Leavitt, meanwhile, plays the eager apprentice in Trump's circus. She doesn't defend him so much as canonize his nonsense, treating every outburst like gospel. Kimmel's humor slices through, exposing her blind loyalty as nothing more than embarrassing desperation. She echoes his rants with the energy of a debate student who thinks volume equals victory, selling tantrums as wisdom even when they collapse under basic logic.
So we heard from Erica Kirk. She said she forgives the man who shot and killed her husband. And then right after that, we heard from the president who said, I hate my opponent and I don't want the best for them. How does that square with bringing down the temperature of political violence in this country?
Look, the president is authentically himself. I think that's why millions of Americans across the country love him and support him, including Erica Kirk, who you saw so beautifully was on stage with the president.
Kimmel zeroes in on Trump's treatment of facts. Like pesky mosquitoes he swats away whenever they get close. It's not misunderstanding. It's an allergy to truth. Every contradiction, reversal, and denial is paraded as though it were strength. Kimmel mocks this as a magician's failed trick, insisting the rabbit is still in the hat. The comedy works because Trump's behavior is already so cartoonish it hardly needs embellishment.
Just yesterday, there's this video of what seemed to be garbage bags being thrown out of the window of the Lincoln bedroom. That's the White House. The official response from the White House said it was maintenance work being done while Trump was off on one of his many golf weekends. But Trump is even contradicting his own White House now.
There's a video that is circulating online now of the White House where a window is open to the residence upstairs and somebody is throwing a big bag out the window. Have you seen this?
No, that's probably...
Leavitt doesn't escape scrutiny either. Her defense strategy is simple. Repeat Trump's nonsense with a straight face. If he says the sky is green, she'll write an essay about why blue was overrated anyway. Kimmel skewers this hollowness, showing how her role is less about leadership or vision and more about serving as a loudspeaker for someone else's ego. Her rhetoric boils down to applause lines recycled from Trump's greatest hits album of grievances. The roast lands because it unmasks the emptiness of political karaoke.
And he's already figured out where to get the money. Trump today became the first president to sue the New York Times. He's suing the New York Times for $15 billion for defamation. $15 billion. Where does he even come up? These are like numbers my children make up when they're talking about money. I thought he said the New York Times was failing. He thinks they have $15 billion? How much would he sue for if he thought they were doing?
Trump's vanity is easy fodder. More obsessed with mirrors than legislation, posing for cameras as though photo ops were governance. Kimmel mocks him as a man trapped in his own reflection, mistaking staged applause for history. His pursuit of power through optics only makes him look weaker. Leavitt plays the cheerleader, selling his image as if flattery were service. Kimmel roasts her devotion as political cosplay, a futile attempt to make her boss look less foolish, an impossible illusion.
The president has been hard at work coming up with all sorts of nonsense to distract us from the Epstein files, including, I don't know if you saw this, but he made a major announcement. I am ordering my administration to declassify and release all government records related to Amelia Earhart, her final tip and everything else about her. Thank you for your attention to this.
Kimmel mocks Trump's endless feuds, joking that he treats the presidency like the comment section of a bad YouTube video. Attention is his oxygen, so no rival is too big or small for a fight. Leavitt only amplifies the chaos, echoing his tantrums instead of restraining them, mistaking dysfunction for charisma. The comedy stings because the reality is absurd. Two people confusing squabbles with statesmanship.
What is he hiding? Like, there has to be something in there about it. I can't imagine him doing this because he cares about anyone else. This Epstein list, it's the first time Trump didn't want his name on something. There's a lot of speculation, naturally, including from the writer Michael Wolff, who wrote a bunch of books about Trump. Wolff floated the possibility that Trump may have had Epstein killed himself, which, listen, I know he's done a lot of things, bad things, but I don't think Donald Trump ordered a hit on Jeffrey Epstein. And the reason I don't think he ordered a hit is because if he did, he would...
Trump's allergy to responsibility becomes comedy gold. Every failure blamed on others. Every disaster spun as brilliance. Kimmel mocks his victimhood, likening him to a student with endless excuses. The dog ate my homework. The printer broke. The teacher was biased. Leavitt amplifies the absurdity, turning excuses into patriotic slogans, selling disasters as victories like a carnival barker with broken goods. Kimmel shows her devotion doesn't make Trump look strong. It makes the whole act look pathetic.
Well, Trump announced the suit this morning. He wrote, "Today I have the great honor of bringing a $15 billion defamation and libel lawsuit against the New York Times, one of the worst and most degenerate newspapers in the history of our country. The Times has engaged in a decades-long method of lying about your favorite president, me, my family business, the America First movement, MAGA, and our nation as a whole. The New York Times has been allowed to freely lie, smear, and defame me for far too long, and that's..."
Kimmel tears into Trump's hollow patriotism, mocking how the flag became a stage prop at rallies where theater replaced substance. National pride was reduced to marketing, gestures, and slogans, while real sacrifice was ignored. Leavitt echoed this performance with scripted conviction, wrapping theatrics in false righteousness. Kimmel shreds the illusion, showing Trump's obsession with monuments to himself. Statues, libraries, reverence. Yet his legacy will be memes, blooper reels, and ridicule. It's not just failure, but failure wrapped in delusion.
Any we may have heard of, by the way? 7 wars. Last week it was 10 wars. Now it's 7. Tomorrow it'll be 15 wars. This guy is ending. He ended Star Wars. I don't know if you heard that. He did. Poor Mark Hamill had to move on to other things. Listen, I have an idea of how you can get people to stop talking about releasing the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files.
Leavitt's role in Trump's fantasy is mocked as polishing a collapsing facade, a tour guide in an empty museum selling tickets to exhibits that don't exist. Her devotion only highlights the absurdity of propping up a myth already crumbling. Kimmel frames Trump as a president who turned governance into vaudeville, chasing ratings over substance, mistaking noise for effectiveness. His supposed greatness collapses under theatrics, leaving only fading applause. Leavitt, far from defending an empire, is reduced to the warm-up act for his next tantrum.
Trump says the Times is run by a bunch of lefties. He claims they're a mouthpiece for the Democrats. And I have to say, I did do today's Wordle, and I don't know if you did, but he might be right. Besides how ridiculous it is, this might be one of the funniest legal documents I've ever seen. It's quite a tongue bath. One page lists Trump's, quote, hundreds of history-making media appearances, including WrestleMania 5, All My Children, Ghost Can't Do It, 2 Weeks Notice, Days of Our Lives, Miss USA, Miss Universe, The Ali G Show, Marmalade, and much, much.
Leavitt's loyalty was never conviction but an echo of Trump's insecurities, amplifying nonsense until it sounded like authority. Instead of shaping history, she became part of its punchline. Kimmel exposes how the duo turned politics into parody, Trump providing the absurdity, Leavitt the amplification. Every speech became a skit, every slogan a stale tagline. Trump wanted monuments but will be remembered as a blooper reel. Leavitt imagined herself a rising force, but is reduced to a footnote defined by selling nonsense as brilliance.
President, this is all another elaborate, made-up Democrat plot to distract us from the historically awesome job he is doing.
I think we're probably having, according to what I read, even from two people in this room, we're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what we should be talking about, not the Epstein hoax.
We are almost at the I never met anyone named Jeffrey Epstein part of this story.
So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars.
That's a lot of war.
Kimmel shows how Trump and Leavitt's attempts to control the narrative only magnified the absurdity, making laughter the inevitable response. The demolition works because humor leaves scars outrage never could, reshaping perception so their grandiosity looks fragile and their devotion forgettable. Both are exposed as performers, not leaders, remembered less for triumph than for theater gone wrong. Their roar fades into laughter, ensuring history replays them not as visionaries but as punchlines.